Hello, good evening and welcome to Law and Order on another Friday evening, the program that educates you on a topic of law with an expert every week. Now, we all know and we are all concerned about the environment around us, but are we aware of the laws that are governing the environment and the body that is governing or policing those environmental laws? Now, this is a subject in our 2 to 3 years of history in this program we have not touched upon, but a very important subject in law or even otherwise. So today we thought we will bring you the knowledge of what we call the environmental law on the perspective of the government authority which is managing or policing it. And to do that, I have an expert guest today. My guest today is Manuja Vimalasena, attorney at law. She is the Director Legal of the Central Environmental Authority. Manuja, thank you for taking time off and coming to the show. How are you today?
Fine.
You're fine, right? That's all. Now, this is a large topic. Yes. I don't know how much we can cover in one program, but let's try our best. Yes. Now, can we start by asking obviously the obvious question? What is the main role of CEA or the Central Environmental Authority?
Yeah, I must first thank you, Chanakya, for inviting me for this program. The Central Environmental Authority is one of the main institutions in Sri Lanka for protecting and managing the environment. The Central Environmental Authority was established by Act number 47 of 1980. That was the CEA, we call it CEA. The CEA was established in 1981 and the Act was amended twice. That was in 1988 and 2000. So the main role of the CEA is protecting the environment and managing the environment and also making public aware of the environment pollution, and also it acts as a regulatory body. That is, we take action against the violators. That is the main role of the CEA.
Right. Now, you said protecting environment and managing the law. Now, can you tell me how do you all do under the laws that you have? What are the tools that you use to do this?
Yes. Yes, now the Central Environmental Authority, we have the head office at Battanula, and we have provinces, in every province we have provincial officers and also district officers. So the main tools under the Act, under our Act, National Environment Act, are issuing environment protection licenses. That is, the Environment Authority is mainly concerned about industrial pollution. We issue licenses for industries. That is, we have a gazette notification, we have prescribed activities which require environment protection licenses. So there are about 138 activities in our gazette notification. That is, we have categorized them as Part A, B and C. Mainly Part A comprises of high polluting industries, Part B medium polluting industries, and Part C low polluting industries. So if anybody starts any activity that is prescribed under the this regulation, they are required to obtain an environment protection license from the CEA. For Part A and B activities, the Central Environmental Authority issues us license, but for Part C activities, we have delegated our authority under our Act to local authorities. So the local authorities can issue licenses for Part C activities.
Okay. If I may interrupt you before you go, you said Part A, B and C.
Yes.
What is Part A and B if you were to recap with some examples?
Yeah, for example,
high polluting is Part A, right?
Part A. And
what is a high polluting?
That is, we have categorized certain industries. There are about, I think, 85 industries under that. For example, if I take a hostel, now if the hostel comprises of 200 occupants, that requires a license under Part A. And if less than 200, that requires a license under Part C. And for another example, if I take a hotel, now we have delegated our authority to local authorities under Part C activities. So if we take a hotel, if the hotel comprises of more than 20 rooms, that requires a license under Part B from the CEA. If the hotel comprises of 5 to 19 rooms, that requires a license from local authorities, that is under Part C. So likewise, we have categorized And also, for example, if I take service stations, those require license from the CEA.
When you say petrol service stations?
No. That is sheds. Sheds, they require license from the local authorities. This is service stations, car
vehicle
service stations. They require license from the CEA. So likewise, we have categorized the industries according to the pollution.
Okay. You said it was the Part C was delegated to local authority. What are the local authorities? Is it the municipalities and or divisional secretary, or is it the provincial councils?
No, only the local authorities, that is municipal councils, urban councils and Pradesh Sabhas. We have delegated to all the local authorities under Part C activities.
Not to the provincial council?
Not provincial councils.
Okay. So now CEA also is, I think its mandate also goes to maintaining the environmental quality.
Yes.
Right. So how do you all propose to do, or how do you all use your legislative power to do this?
Yes, with regard to environment quality, now we issue environment protection license for industries.
Right.
So the prescribed activities are activities that is prescribed which discharges or emit waste into the environment. So now if an industry discharges wastewater or emit polluted air or emit noise, so we have standards, we have gazetted standards under wastewater, noise and also for air. So if any industry exceeds the standards prescribed under our gazette notifications, we can take action against the violators. So that is how we maintain the environmental quality.
Right. Now there's a, if I may take present day, there is a big issue in India, Delhi, that the environment is completely polluted because of the fog and the mist or the air, polluted air that is created by factories around it. Now, fortunately, Sri Lanka doesn't have a situation like that. Now, do you think given that kind of an example scenario, we have well regulated because Sri Lanka also has loads of factories, we have well regulated our factories and the factories that emit bad, poisonous smoke and things to air?
Yes. Now we issue, as I earlier said, we issue environment protection licenses. So we issue licenses with conditions. The license contains conditions with regard to wastewater, noise and air. So when the officers inspect industries, they check for air pollution, water pollution and noise pollution. So
these are the three areas.
Yes, three
air,
areas: water and noise, and also soil. But so far we don't have regulations, any standards for soil pollution. We have standards for noise, air, and water. So the officers inspect, and if the industry complies with our standards only, we issue environment protection licenses. So basically, once an industry is issued with a license, that we think that the industry is operating with according to our standards, and this maintaining the environment in a qualitative way.
Right. You said we don't have a requirement for soil pollution or soil testing. Do you think, is that done in other countries?
Well, I think they have.
Do you think is it necessary for even for some
sometimes,
industries?
because
sometimes. What are the times it's necessary?
Now sometimes the industries, they discharge wastewater into land. Soil.
Okay.
So the soil get polluted. So it's better if we have standards, but at the moment we don't have any
standards created because they don't have a law to create that standard.
We have the provision in our act.
You have the provision?
Yeah, we have the provision, but we don't have any regulations, the standards gazetted yet.
Why do you think that we have not gone into that? It was not necessary given our industrial landscape.
No, it's necessary, but now in future we might prepare regulations, but at the moment we have only those.
But has that created the problem so far? No.
Yes, for some industries, when the pollution causes, it's necessary to analyze who polluted the soil, from which industry the pollution caused. So I think it's necessary to formulate regulations.
Right. Now, apart from the other, are there any other tools that are used by CEA for further protecting the environment?
Apart from the environment protection license, the Central Environmental Authority manages the environment by this assessing the environment impact assessment.
Right.
So that is with regard to major projects that we have another gazette notification. That is the gazette notification comprises 3 parts. So we have prescribed projects. Earlier I told that the industrial activities require licenses, but this is big projects. For example, airports, highways, hotels. Now, for example, if I take a hotel with 99 rooms, more than 99 rooms, that hotel should go under this environment impact assessment. That is, before establishing the industry, we assess the impact to the environment. So once that impact is assessed, only the approval is granted. So that is another tool that is used by the Central Environment Authority to manage the environment. And also there is another license, there is another tool, that is waste management license. We issue waste management licenses for industries that generates, that disposes, transports, recovers hazardous waste. That is the environment protection license we issue for industries. That is some kind of license, and this is for hazardous waste. We have also a gazette notification. We have prescribed all the scheduled waste, that is called scheduled waste, and for example asbestos waste and some dyes, pharmaceutical waste. So any industry or any person generates, disposes and recovers like that. If any person do any activity that is prescribed in our gazette, they have to obtain a license from the Central Environment Authority. That is called waste management license. But that license we have not delegated to local authorities. That is issued only by the Central Environment Authority. Those are the main tools that we use to protect and manage the environment.
Let me take you back to EIA, because EIA, so environmental impact assessment, has caused a lot of controversies in the past few days. I don't want to go into examples in big projects. Now, when you issue an EIA for a particular project, if the EIA says that there are environmental impact that can happen, if those people find that there are ways you can mitigate, and if they come back to you changing certain things, do you do a second assessment before giving the license, or do you all say no, only once we assess and you have to rectify the whole thing?
No, actually that is not, that is an approval granted by the CEA, and we issue the approval with conditions. Once the project proponent proposes a project, the CEA or we have gazetted other project approving agencies also.
What are those agencies?
There are several agencies, for example Forest Department, Wildlife Department. So according to the project and the site, the project approving agency differs. Once the project is submitted to Central Environment Authority, that is decided at a meeting, and then the project approving agency is also decided at the meeting. So once the project is project proposal is submitted, so we hold a meeting called scoping meeting, and decides according to the impact of the project whether that should undergo a EIA or IE. IEs are done for projects that have minor impacts, but EIA is done for projects that have major impacts. So the difference is that for EIAs, they require public comments. We can obtain public comments for EIAs. Now, once the project proposal is submitted, and then it is we issue the TOR, that is terms of reference, and the project proponent has to submit the EIA or IE report. then it is evaluated by the project approving agency. Then we issue approval with conditions. Now, when the project, after the approval is issued, the project proponent can commence the project activities, that is construction activities, and if there's any change, they have to inform the project approving agency. Then sometimes another alternative study is done by the project proponent, and then it has to be submitted, the report has to be submitted again to the project approving agency, and then we can issue another approval with additional conditions.
Additional conditions. Okay, you all introduced recently polythene regulations regarding controlling polythene. Can you explain to us about the newly introduced polythene regulations?
Yeah, we have actually introduced 6 gazette notifications with regard to polythene.
Right. Before you answer, when is that coming into effect?
That has already
come into effect.
Have come into effect from 1st of September.
Right. Okay.
We have 6 gazette notifications. Earlier also we have a gazette notification with regard to polythene, and we have rescinded in and introduced 6 polythene gazettes. That is, one is that no person can use polythene or polythene products that is less than 20 or 20 microns. So, if any person uses a polythene or polythene product less than 20 or 20 microns, that we can take action. And also in this gazette notification we have given some exceptions for polythene users, that is for pharmaceutical purposes and for laminating purposes we have given exceptions.
What is the exception you have given?
For if anybody uses this polythene for laminating purposes, that we have categorized several technical terms, and we have exempted those from this gazette notification, and also this polythene used for pharmaceutical matters, they have also been exempted from the gazette notification.
Okay. If somebody violates this new regulation, what will be the consequences?
Then we can our officers go for inspections, and they measure the polythene. We have a machine and we measure the polythene, and if they violate the regulations, we can take action. The Central Environment Authority can take action. For the previous gazette notification also we have taken, I think more than 1,000 cases we have filed. So for this also we can take action against the violators.
Action means you file something in magistrate court, fine them, or imprison them or something?
Yes,
no.
yes.
It goes to a level of imprisonment. It's up to the judge.
We have we have the provision for a fine and an imprisonment. The fine is 10,000. So we file action in the magistrate's court, and if the person pleads guilty or fined guilty, the fine is imposed.
Right. Now, taking a little bit back to waste management, because it became a very big issue this year. Waste management, if I wanted some clarification, apart from y'all, are there like corresponding authorities which can give approval? You said major waste management things has to be approved by Central Environment Authority, but is there a role in the approval process with local bodies like municipalities, Pradeshi Sabhas, and even the provincial council? Do they also have a role in approving waste management projects?
Yeah, actually the local authorities are the main bodies with regard to waste management.
Right.
This, our Act also has some provisions, but the main role of the waste management is the local authorities. So they can take action against the violators, and also the CEA has a role with regard to waste management. We can take action against the local authorities also. The main role is played by the local authorities.
What is their role actually? What do they play? That is enforcing?
Yes, enforcing that the provisions are included in their ordinances and acts. So waste is their property, so they have to manage it and take action.
Right. What would be the, if I ask you, the duties of a citizen with regard to protecting the environment?
Actually,
are there duties imposed under your Act for citizens, or is it like a general norm?
No, general.
What would you say? What
now, for industries, now if any person starts an industry, that person has to obtain a license from us, and also he has to, the industries has to operate the industry according to our standards and criteria. So and also the citizen also has a duty to protect the environment. They can inform the CEA if there's any violation, and also they can be vigilant on the environment, and the CEA alone can't do this all managing and protecting the environment. So there's a role and a responsibility from the citizens also to protect the environment when they dispose even waste. They can't go and dispose waste everywhere, and they have to give support to the CEA and other bodies with regard to protecting and managing the environment.
Okay, I know we touched upon an area called with regard to soil management when it comes to giving approval. That part you said you are on the process of, or you might come into drafting legislation or a gazette notification with which requires soil testing and all that to be done. But what would be the other changes you would like to see in the environmental law of Sri Lanka in order to have a healthy climate?
Actually, at the moment also we have suggested some amendments to our Act. So sometimes with regard to this EIA matters, when some people come to CEA after this construction of their project,
without
obtaining the approval.
Yes.
So sometimes we need provision to demolish or remove the the piece of that project that impacts the environment. So we need some powers with regard to demolition and also to assess the environment damage.
Right.
At present we don't have provisions for assessment of environment damage. So it's better that if our Act contains
powers to do this.
Powers to
in your new amendment, are these thought about?
Yeah, we have suggested. There are several suggestions. So we have included some of them into our Act.
What is the level? Is it on the process of getting amended?
We have to obtain the cabinet approval, and we have to get approval from pass it through the parliament.
Right. Okay, Manuja Vimalasinghe, thank you, Vimalasinghe rather. Thank you very much for joining on this program and for those valuable thoughts. We hope to see you again, because this is a subject which we can't just sum up in half an hour, but to go detail in other issues, and especially probably when your amendments come, probably we'll meet again. And thank you for joining Law and Order today. That's Law and Order for today, and our topic was environmental law. It's our first program on environmental law. We hope to discuss in detail on some of these topics later on our shows. You can watch our shows once again if you want to watch all over again by going into our site, that is channeli.lk, and go to the drop down menu, pick Law and Order, and you can watch our previous shows all over again. Enjoy the rest of the programming on Channel I. I'll see you next week, and have a nice weekend. Good night.